And now for another episode of Confessions of an Online Psychic with your host, novelist, filmmaker, and authentic psychic, Dave Thompson.
Hey everybody, welcome to a new season of Confessions of an Online Psychic, and this is a different type of episode because tonight I'm going to try to take a look at the pandemic that's going on. What possible futures are there for the human race and for our economy and for our country, but also what may be behind it, if I can pick up anything. Last night as I was trying to get to sleep, it came to me that if the pandemic itself was caused by accident, what is feeding the fear? What is causing the fear? And the last couple of weeks, I've had several clients who have used me to combat things. There has been dark entities. I've seen them almost all my life, and recently I had one client who was things were being made worse because of an entity that was around her, and so we're going to take a look at that. Brief background: I have encountered these dark entities. These entities, what they tend to do is they tend to feed upon fear. And to get the fear out of us humans, what they do is they will provoke us. They will cause fights. They will cause instability. Couples and people who fight for no reason, they enhance. They're like an irritant, really. That's the best way I can put it. They're an irritant, and they feed off that energy. And there's really only one way to combat this, and that is to basically laugh in their face. And it's suspiciously a lot like an episode of the original Star Trek. I remember this episode. The Klingons and the people on the Enterprise, Captain Kirk, were constantly fighting. There was this being that would appear and go through the walls, and it would turn red, cause people to fight, and then it would feed upon that energy of the people fighting. And these things live off of our fear, because it's a real emotion, and that the emotion goes out in waves of energy, and these things pick up on it and they feed on it. Essentially, energy vampires. So I was able to deal with the one that most recently a friend of mine had. I was able to deal with it, and then there was a couple of things we had to go through and mop up. Then I have another client who's working with something similar, and we're going to be combating that tomorrow night via ritual. So let me, I've got to open myself up now. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to get when I start opening myself up. When I open up, it's essentially like turning on a giant radio receiver. I'm not sure what it is I will get. Right, yes. If you know there is a panic going on in our society because of this pandemic. But the fear is being stoked by these dark energy entities. There's hundreds, thousands of them. And so in every area that is panicking, they're feeding off that fear. Now, there's not a lot we can do about that because people are going to panic. But it explains a whole lot. It explains a great deal about how everybody is reacting to this. Okay, I have one of my guides here, and I'm going to pass along information from her. She mentions surrounding ourselves with gold light. Practice the common sense things. Don't give in to the fear. Use whatever tools we have necessary. She's showing me meditation. She's showing me people watching Cartoon Network. Oh, that works. Comedy channels. Be mindful of our own emotions. Don't give in to the fear. If people find themselves fighting with others, realize, if you can, that there is an outside force provoking this. Project positive, project positivity. I'm looking here. I am being shown middle of May. What happens then? Things almost start to return to normal. But we're still going to have isolated cases. I'm showing it's going to be a big factor in the politics coming up. Let me pause here. That's the dog Fluff. He's been irritated too. There isn't one of the beings around me right now, around this house, but I can see some clouds up towards a house on the corner down the block from me. I'm trying not to get too close. I don't want to attract its attention. I don't want to have to deal with it tonight. But this one guide of mine is showing me a perimeter putting up. Last night I advised my client to, and I'll advise you of this, to see yourself surrounded by plates of armor, like you're wearing an energy cloak that's made out of ceramic Kevlar material. Make it bright on the outside so it sends any fear or anger energy back to the sender. And she's showing me how I'm tracing the outline around where I'm living. And it's like a sparkling line of energy that we're tracing around and creating a bubble. We are to be using a golden light. Golden light. The exercise for that is to, on your hands, you put it over your heart center, touch your chest, and it'll build up and start glowing and getting warmer and warmer. That will help. Okay, so carelessness was the reason why this virus transferred over. There's 18 different mutations now the virus has gone through. That's going to be the struggle. The researchers will think they have a handle on it, but then it will still mutate. The uniqueness about this virus is some people are not showing any symptoms, yet they are spreading it. The dark entities, although they did not cause it, they are definitely profiting off it. The darkness is really heavy over several seats of government. I'm looking now, of course, our national U.S. government. I'm seeing some areas, pockets, Great Britain, throughout Europe. They're showing me several state-level governments in which the darkness is just sitting there. It's like a sponge, and it's soaking up this fear, and it's sending out ways to irritate people and to provoke them into fear responses. The average human is prone to this, to easily panic. It's the way we've been taught and raised for the past 20 some odd years. fears are being stoked. The recommendation is to not spend a lot of time watching news broadcasts. Practice, the self-isolation if you want to, but at the same time, don't worry about it. Our immune systems are also controlled by our bodies, and as we become fearful, we are more prone to have the virus infect us. Okay, good. Just checking to see how much time I had left on the recording. These cameras are limited to 20 minutes. All right, 10 minutes if it's a 4K camera. Repeat it. Okay. All right. Go about your normal business. Don't let the economy scare you. It will bounce back middle of summer. There's opportunity for growth. This is a wake-up call. Flaws in our system, not just in the U.S., but the systems in place in several other countries. It will hang on a while just because the way our society works. There will be people who will be spreading this because they're unaware and they're the type of personality they like to stoke fear. And these people are being guided by these dark beings. And every chance you get, meditate and send out golden light. If enough of us send out the golden light, we can at least stop a lot of the dark beings from profiting and growing. But let's look at this as their last real big gasp at controlling us. They've been controlling us now for the past 15, no, it goes back further than that, almost 20 years. Actually, they're showing me further back than that. They're showing me back to the 1980s. It's very important that the people in the United States get out and vote in the coming national elections, because a lot of the people who are in power now are being controlled by these beings, and the only way we can deal with this is to get them out and to stop giving into the fear. Do not run your life based upon fear. Don't make decisions based upon fear. I'm communicating to my guide was, that's kind of the love and light sort of attitude, but it fits now. It fits now. I'm not one for passing along that type of information. But the way to combat these things is by just not expressing fear. Don't let the fear get to you. Do whatever you can to keep from giving into the fear. There's no reason to panic. But they are pushing it. They're taking advantage of the situation to try to grow and remain in power. Every chance you get, meditate, send out the golden light. Huge bursts of golden light. If enough of us do it, we will hurt these things and send them back. Okay. When I was helping that friend of mine, I kept seeing the entity we were attacking, and I kept hitting it with light, and it kept shrinking. It kept trying to scare me. It was showing me faces. My daughter has seen an entity like this that lived next door to us, and she said it had these needle-like teeth and red eyes. I have seen in some of the forms people who have had dreams, or they've woken up and seen a shadow creature with red eyes. That's these things. Their source is another dimension. Their dimension is lower than ours. I like to call it the dungeon dimensions. It's a phrase I stole from Discworld, but it fits because this this dimension is of a slower and darker energy than our dimension, and they are attempting to hold us back from evolving. They do not want us to evolve. They would rather us live in perpetual fear of them than to evolve the way we're supposed to evolve. Which goes back to all the stuff about Christ consciousness and ascension. And all ascension is just increasing our awareness of what we can't see with our brains. Our eyes, like the camera lens, records everything. But our brain then filters it. And because of that, we miss a lot of things. When I do what I did just now, I open up. I allow myself to open up to energies and thought forms from other dimensions, in this case, one of my guides. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap up now. This is March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, the year 2020. Approximately a year ago, I started the Confessions of an Online Psychic, and so I'm just going to do a couple of videos now in the future regarding what it is I do. I have a bunch of episodes I'll be putting online in various groups from the old episodes, and then new episodes hopefully will be premiering maybe every couple of weeks. I don't want to get into a locked in thing. And I am now working on the paperback version of this book. Okay, this has droned on quite a bit. I am going to be editing it. So that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for putting up with me. And I'll be talking with you later. Thank you. Bye.